one of the other things that Play on Philly is first in doing in the nation is really pushing for evaluation of our programs and monitoring the assessment of our students. Speaking as a teaching artist, it's really hard as a teacher to be in the classroom and want to move forward in the lesson plan, and while also with maintaining records of everything that the students are doing and that sort of thing. So how would you, and your responsibilities in maintaining these records, encourage the teaching artists and support them in that sort of role?
As evaluating the students' progress? Okay.
And the main, I guess, part of that responsibility entailing just maintaining and organizing all of the documentation.
One thing that I thought was pretty useful for my interns, I guess, I gave them all a booklet, and there was organized in columns, and every day there was a column for what was done and what happened and what do you think about this. And I think that maybe this could be a similar thing that would be used in Plan Philly, where you're given a book and it's organized in such a way that even if you have 5 minutes, you can just write something quickly. And if you develop the habit of doing this every day, I think it could be a really pretty easy way of just keeping track of progress and how the students are doing and how we feel about it, I guess.
That's a great idea.
We're doing on time. Okay.
Let's do a few more minutes.
So I would really like to know, you've touched on a few things, that touched on this, but what really specifically makes you want this job at POP, and name some really tangible details that you think you could really bring to the team?
Well, I think that the harp is a pretty tangible reason for wanting to be there, I guess. It is rare right now that the harp is being used in Alpha Stemma and in outreach programs in general. And I think that with something being difficult or a little bit more challenging to integrate in something, group effort and teamwork are a really essential part of it. And I think that working alongside with Elizabeth will help everybody within the harp community kind of elevate itself up. In addition to that, I also think that that my skill as an organizer and maybe this isn't tangible, but my really deep desire to be part of this. I feel extremely motivated and ambitious, and I want to be here. So it's not exactly tangible. But
No, but that's perfect. Thank you for sharing.
In your 5-year ambitions, do you see yourself mostly staying in the program coordinator facility, I guess, or do you want to pursue more of the artistic side as well? What kind of growth do you envision inside POP?
I do think I would like to eventually explore more of the artistic aspects of it, and I would like, as I am envisioning, I would like to incorporate more of health, physical health into the program, and I think that being a program coordinator would be excellent to kind of get good bearings for everything and how it works, and then understanding the different jobs that happen in the program. It's really good to give you a well-rounded perspective of what's happening, but I think ultimately I would like to be more involved with the students in creative ways and showing them the harp and how it's good for you, and just creating a healthy mindset in bodies through the instrument.
I commend you on that. That's really cool. I'm involved with an organization that does combine health and music, and you can see very tangible effects on people. I mean, it's two very essential things.
That's great.
Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to share with us about any of your previous experiences?
Sure, yeah. I'll just say that I guess as a musician I have felt selfish for a large part of my life, and I've struggled with this. I'm sure we've all kind of experienced this kind of a kind of an emotion. And then when I discovered what All Systema was, I wanted to cry and scream and I don't know. So I was just very excited by this, and it feels like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. So I think that what you guys are doing are awesome, and so thank you for being part of this and for working the way you guys do.
As a performer myself, you and I have quite similar backgrounds.
Okay.
Actually. I spent a long time in school as a horn performance major, and did a lot of teaching and freelancing and all that sort of thing. And I had struggled with very, very similar feelings all the time, just sitting in a practice room and doing this thing that could seem like it's just for yourself and about yourself,
Right.
And so I completely understand finally finding this thing where it's like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is my outlet. This is how I can do what I want to do. So
And may I ask, do you feel gratified? Do you feel satisfied?
every day.
Okay.
Every day. And I feel like, this field really allows you to be creative in so many ways. It allows you to, fulfill yourself musically and also in giving back to the, your fellow citizens and your community. And it's been everything I could have ever hoped it would be. So, yeah. So welcome to the club. Welcome to the journey. Yeah. Great.
Do you have any other questions for us?
Sure, actually. A former professor of mine at the conservatory recently published an article on the subject of talent, and he basically questioned the idea of it, which is kind of a hot or controversial thing to discuss, especially because American culture or talent is something that American culture kind of gravitates towards. Like we have star performers, stars this, stars that, and prodigies, and all these things that praise the notion of talent. And I'm interested what your personal opinion is on what talent is and what All Systema in general seems to think of talent.
Sure. You obviously can't deny, that there are natural talents in this world. However, there's always that balance between the nature versus nurture. Whether you're born with it or whether you actually develop the 10,000 hours that it takes for your brain to actually make those type of connections. I think El Sistema welcomes both of them. If a child is born with an innate talent, then that's wonderful, and it should be, it should flourish. However, that does not mean that we don't pay attention to people who perhaps were not born with that talent. Everything is about an ensemble progressing together. So.
And would you give more attention to one of the two in the scenario of one was?
Like I said, no.
So you
I don't
pay
think
equal
so.
attention to both?
I think that is one of the tenets of El Sistema is equality and kind of a continuous progress as an ensemble.
And how would this coincide with, skillful performances? There are elite orchestras within the El Sistema field, and they're given all these wonderful opportunities, and how would you,
Well,
talk about that if it's not giving more attention to talented? Do you know what I mean? Or
kind of. I think what you're saying is, stars like Gustavo Dudamel or the Simon Bolivar Orchestra, why do they get more attention? It's interesting. It's a very difficult question, one that I probably don't have a specific answer to.
okay.
I think that's just the nature of art and our obsession with perfection. And even though El Sistema might try to make things equitable or equal, the world's not perfect. So we have to accept that and strive to be the best we can and strive to promote equality and promote the best in everybody.
At the same time, I would say that regardless of what happens in Sistema in Venezuela, the mission of pop, as you said, is really the no child left behind kind of mentality. And so in performance, our ensembles are mostly by age group, and it's to ensure that everybody, regardless of what their talent is, whether some are a little bit more behind behind or a little bit ahead of the musical curve at that particular moment in time, that they still have that experience of performing together and supporting each other.
Okay.
So that's how we embodied that in our own activities.
Great. Okay.
And yeah, the most important thing to us is that everyone is trying his or her best. And to answer your question about talent, I believe that everyone is talented in many different ways. I'm sure you're talented in things other than harp playing, you know, and every person, every child has many different talents. And this program can be used as a means of discovering what those talents are and cultivating those talents. Because it's not just a music program. It's about caring for and nurturing the entire child and helping each child thrive. We use music because that's what we do and that's what we love, but it doesn't mean that we are just focused on creating musicians. There's so much talent among all of our kids in many, many different ways.
Great. Okay. And do you see any? I guess maybe you touched on it really briefly, and you did as well earlier. But do you see any things that aren't necessarily working in El Sistema? Any issues that have arisen that you feel uncomfortable about, or that you're trying to fix yourselves, or?
Elaine, you want to take that one?
As we've mentioned, we are going to be one of the first programs to really be building in this evaluation and assessment tools. I think that's been a lot of the criticism of Sistema outside of the U.S., like the original programs in Venezuela. And so we're really hoping to remediate that by building that into our own program. We see that as very important to our own growth as well. So we're hoping to bring in somebody such as yourself that can help us to maintain and organize all of that wonderful documentation that we hope to be getting.
Yeah, and one of the other large issues within the movement in the U.S. specifically, I would say, is the relationship between El Sistema programs and pre-existing music education programs. You know, your traditional in-school music education and other things. And you know, one way that POP is really working with that is that our sites are at schools. You know, so we're working directly with pre-existing music education programs within schools. So, and that's a larger issue throughout the whole field, and that's something that is still definitely a work in progress.
Okay.
Is figuring out how to really effectively work together between all of the existing music education programs.
So do you feel a lot of resistance in what you're trying to do?
I wouldn't say resistance.
Okay.
I think lack of clarity, and I think what needs to happen is that everyone just needs to get on the same page and understand that we're all in this for the kids,
Okay.
and that El Sistema programs aren't trying to take away the jobs
Yeah.
of other music educators,
Right.
And that we can all work together. So I would say it's more of an issue of lack of clarity.
Okay.
Yeah, these are wonderful questions. Unfortunately, I think we're running out of time.
Okay. Well, it was great to
But it was great, to hear all of your questions.
And just to let you know, our timeline, obviously, this we're in our final round of interviews here, and we're hoping to have made a decision within the next 2 weeks.
Great. So I look forward to it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.